President Trump was inaugurated 3 years ago today. Chief Justice John Roberts swore him in that morning in 2017. This week, Roberts is overseeing his impeachment trial. Larry Sabato is the director of the Center for Politics and a professor at the University of Virginia. He joins me now from Charlottesville. Larry, thank you so much for being with us. So there are still a lot of questions about what Tuesday will look like. But so far, how may Tuesday's session be different from the initial debate in President Clinton's impeachment trial?
Well, I think the difference is clearly the subject matter. This is not about private affairs. This is about the affairs of state. As far as the structure of the trial, at least parts of it will appear to be similar. And very much like 1999, we already know the outcome for all practical purposes. It was impossible then to imagine enough Democrats voting to oust Bill Clinton, just as it's impossible now to imagine enough Republicans voting to oust Donald Trump. One difference, though, that is important is that in the Clinton trial, several additional witnesses became part of that trial. There had been 66 witnesses total prior to the trial beginning because of that long investigation that even preceded the House impeachment for Bill Clinton. In this case, there were fewer witnesses, many fewer witnesses in the House of Representatives. So the question's going to become, will the Senate accept additional witnesses, hear additional witnesses, and will they demand documents that the House was never able to get their hands on?
So, Larry, then, what big similarities do you anticipate seeing between Trump's trial and Clinton's, other than, of course, Republican-controlled Senate?
Well, yes, the Republicans controlled the Senate in both cases, but you see, in the first case, they were trying a Democratic president. So that set the tone quite a bit different than you're going to find among Republicans as they examine President Trump's record, at least with respect to the two articles of impeachment. So, yes, the Republicans were in charge both times, but I think that other than that, there really aren't a whole lot of similarities. Yes, you have a Chief Justice presiding, in the former case, William Rehnquist, and now John Roberts, but they don't take a major role in the trial. They're careful about that, separating the judiciary from the legislative function, and I doubt they want to become the center of controversy. Certainly Rehnquist didn't, and there's no reason to think Roberts will.
Right. So President Trump's impeachment is unlike past ones in that it's happening while he's running for re-election. So how much did impeachment play a role in the elections that followed prior impeachments, even when those presidents weren't running for office?
Yes, well, just mention, well, of course, you can go back to 1868 if you want. Andrew Johnson was a substitute because of assassination, and he wasn't even a Republican. He was replaced by a Republican acceptable to the radical Republican Senate that very much wanted to oust Johnson. And of course, I'm talking about Ulysses S. Grant, who had been general during the Civil War, head of the Civil War effort against the South. In 1974, when Nixon resigned on the edge of being both impeached and convicted by the Senate, and there's no doubt he would have been convicted and ousted, you had a midterm election just a few months later in November 1974 in which there was a massive Democratic landslide. So you'd better believe that Watergate and the Nixon resignation had a major effect. In Bill Clinton's case, I think you can argue that while Democrats did well in the election of 2000 following Clinton's impeachment and Senate trial, it probably made the difference in the election. After all, Al Gore won the popular vote by more than 500,000. He only failed to reach the presidency because, at least according to the official count, he fell short by 537 votes in Florida. I rather suspect if there hadn't been a Clinton scandal and a Clinton impeachment and Senate trial, that Gore would have been elected rather than George W. Bush. So you see, you can have a major impact. Now, whether it will work that way with Trump is anybody's guess, and he will be running for election, but after the passage of 9 months, about 9 months. That's a long time, and I'm not sure that many people will be voting on impeachment, either pro or con, by the time we get to November.
Fascinating stuff. All right, Larry Sabato, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanya.